Hey guys, why don't you join me and my hubby today as we split and stack all this firewood here for the cabin. And join me on my little adventure of trying to make a couple little end tables for the cabin here out of some of these logs. You're watching Home Again, and my name is Terry, and I so appreciate you taking the time to check out my channel. Now let's have some fun. Well, to start out, I'd like to thank my big brother Al for coming up to the cabin and spending the day with us and helping us haul all of this firewood out of the woods and get it onto the porch of the cabin. Thanks, Al. Don't know what we'd do without you. Okay, break time is over. Now it's time to get back to work. And my hubby was a log splitting machine. A regular Paul Bunyan.
Had enough of swinging this axe.
Hey, when a guy's willing to work this hard, you gotta encourage him to keep him going. Okay, I'll stop torturing you with my sound effects, but they're just so fun. Anyways, at the end of the day, this is what my hubby got accomplished, and man was I impressed. I'm pretty sure this firewood lasted us through the winter. I can't guarantee you that. This was last winter, but it lasted a good long time, I can tell you that much. So before Paul Bunyan got his hands on these four beauties, I set them aside and started to scrub them with hot water and a really stiff bristle brush, just to get all of the dirt and any debris off of them, and to try to get any algae or whatever stuff grows on wood. You can see that one's got quite a bit on it. And I was going to put soap, but I decided I didn't want to do anything that might keep like a varnish from sticking. So I just used water and I just scrubbed. And they didn't look that much improved, right away when they were still wet, but as they dried up, you'll see later, they cleaned up pretty nice. So I bought this little cheap sanding sponge at the dollar store for $1.25, and I didn't really know what kind of quality it'd be, but it worked really well. I let the logs dry out for a few days or a week. I don't remember how long it was. It was a while. I brought them inside and let them dry out really good, and you can see how they lightened up. And then I just took this sanding sponge and just went over them real lightly, mostly on the ends, the top and the bottom, to make sure if there were any little burrs, splinters of wood, I could just kind of sand them down, smooth them down a little. The top and bottom of the logs, where the chainsaw had cut them, were really grooved. But that didn't matter. I couldn't sand that smooth, but it's kind of nice because it kind of gave it like a slip-resistant top. So that worked out just great. You might have noticed I started out with 4 logs, but I narrowed it down to 2. These 2 looked the best, and I was too lazy to do 4, so 2 were enough. So once I was done sanding, I wiped them off with a slightly damp cloth to get any dust and dirt or anything off of them, and then I let them dry a good long time in the house or outside if you have good dry weather, just to make sure that wood is thoroughly dry before you start to put a top coat on. Now, in case you noticed, when I started with this log, it had a little crack in it, but as it set over time and dried out real thoroughly, the crack opened up and got wider. And at first I thought, oh man, but then I decided I didn't care. I thought it looked more natural. Now, as you can see, the product I use goes on milky white, but it dries clear. As long as you don't leave a big puddle of it somewhere, it'll dry nice and clear. I'll talk about the product I used a little later in the video. So what I'm working on right now is actually going to be the bottom of the table. I decided to do the bottoms first, so I just wanted to get the bottom sealed. I didn't do 2 coats on the bottom. I just wanted to get it sealed, and I could take care of any drips, flip it over, do the top side, and know that I wasn't going to have any drips or anything, and not really care about what happens to the bottom after this. I don't think I'm explaining it really well right now, but you'll see what I mean as I go on. Sorry I keep sticking my head in the shot. And now obviously onto the second one. What I used on this project is a polyacrylic, which is a water-based soap and water cleanup. It's what I use on most of my projects. I really like it because I don't like to have to go through all that work just to clean a brush. And so it's what I usually use. Now on to the tops. As you can see, I set the bottoms of the logs on top of these two little wooden strips. And that's to get them up off of the plastic drop cloth because you're going to get drips. And that's why I did the bottom side first, because you really don't care. No one's going to see that. But you're going to get drips, and to lift it up off of the plastic like this, of course, your plastic's not going to get stuck to the wood. So it just made it easier, and I just tried to catch all the drips I could. Like I think I said earlier, I could have left these just the bare wood, but I just love how the top coat brings the wood to life. You can see all the grain a little better, and it just makes it prettier, in my opinion. But if you don't want the bother or the expense, just don't do it. Now, I bought all these little wheels to put on the bottom of it at Habitat for Humanity store for $1 each. They were too expensive in the regular store, but they looked a little marred and chewed up, so I just decided to spray them with a Rust-Oleum. I know it's kind of silly, but they just looked kind of grungy without it, so I wanted to make them look newer. And these little pulleys I bought at a garage sale, and you'll see in the future what I do with those. And this is how they turned out once I got the 2 or 3 coats of top coat on them. I used a satin finish also, which makes it nice and washable, and you can dust them easy, but it's not shiny. I mean, it might have a tiny bit of a sheen, but it doesn't make the logs look like plastic. Next, I go to drilling the holes to put the wheels in. And when I was looking at them without the wheels, I kind of wish I'd just stopped there, but I can remove the wheels at any time. I went to all the effort of putting wheels on them, but I almost thought they looked better without them. But the wheels gave them a little more height, because when we were cutting the logs in the woods, of course, I didn't have the idea I was going to try to make little tables out of them, so they were just cut a length that would go into the wood stove here. And I wanted them a little taller, so I put these wheels on them. But they would be just fine, probably look more natural, obviously, without wheels, so you don't even need to go to all this bother. And you can see on the bottom ring of the log there, that's some of the polyurethane that dripped. If it gets really thick and drippy, then it might look a little cloudy, but as long as you brush it out, it turns out just fine, and nobody sees that underside. That's why I didn't care about making it look perfect. And here's one down, one to go. The wheels obviously didn't swivel very well because I didn't have the little sleeve that they go into. I just put them right into the wood. So they really just give it height. They don't roll around easily, but they roll a little bit. Sorry I can't speed this up more for you. I'm editing on an old device and it only lets me speed things up twice the normal speed. So you can imagine how slow I move in real life. But once I learn to edit on something better in the future, I'll speed them up 10 times or something and it'll look like I'm going real fast. I won't bore you so much. So here's the finished product. I get making a table out of a log is not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but here at the cabin we had a need for some extra little tables and this met the need. So it worked out great for us. Here I'm just rubbing my hand down. I'm showing you that they're nice and slick and easy to clean. Now this product I'm using, I showed you pictures of these outside, but the product I'm using is an interior product, so it's not for exterior use. So if you want to keep yours outside all the time without being covered by a porch or something, then you're going to want to buy a top coat that's for exterior use. As you can see right here, they make a perfect little side table for the rocking chair to sit by the fire and put your cup of coffee on. I just took a few pictures of them outside here because the lighting's better. It's pretty dark in the cabin. I wanted you to get a better look at them. They make good little plant stands too. So if you're in need of some end tables or nightstands, as you can see, a super easy, quick little project that can meet the need. Thanks so much for spending part of your day with me. I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you next time, guys.